What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Return to Halloweentown. Let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. I know Halloween has now come and gone, but quite frankly I ended up reviewing or prepping too many reviews, watching too many movies of Halloween and horror themed films for this month of October, and so I wasn't able to get all those reviews out in the time that I wanted to because of work and other things going on in my personal life. So I'm going to use the first half of November to try to catch up on all of these horror movies, along with some other movies that I'll go and check out in theaters, as well as just something random here and there, leading up into December, where I'll try to do mostly holiday themed movies, Christmas themed movies. So yeah, obviously Halloween is come and gone, but who cares? Let's keep going. Also, these wet spots on my shirt, for anybody who's curious, is because I just took a shower and it dripped down from my beard. So I don't want to change the shirt. Let's just move on. And as you guys can tell from the thumbnail and the title, I am joined in this video by my boy Rashad G Reviews for one more Halloweentown. Return to Halloweentown is the fourth and final installment in the Halloweentown franchise, and is a film that I actually just now saw for the very first time. If you guys have not seen my reviews for the other ones, I talked about those other films very nostalgically. I was able to appreciate what I enjoyed about them, but also be able to recognize that they're incredibly cheesy and they don't hold up for most people today. And a lot of the elements that I enjoyed a lot more as a kid were a lot more annoying or didn't really work as much today. So yeah, they were fun to go back and revisit. I specifically really enjoyed the first film, and I still stand by the thought that if a director like Tim Burton or some other just big budget film director was able to hone that first movie and make a new movie based around that same premise, they could do something really cool with it. So yeah, the fourth movie, Return to Halloweentown, this is the first time I've ever seen it. And why is that? Well, it's because they ended up recasting the main character of the film, the main character of the franchise, Marnie. In the other film, she was played by Kimberly J. Brown, and I actually saw a video not too long ago that I'm sure you could find after a quick search, where she spoke about the fact that she wasn't working on another project, she just wasn't called by Disney to come back. And I remember that it was a big discussion, I should say that with quotation marks, because it wasn't that huge. But I remember talking to other friends and family that were around my same age when Halloweentown movies were coming out, and all of us kind of being bothered and upset about the fact that they recast the main characters of these movies that we enjoyed as kids. So I know a lot of people who either didn't like this movie or just flat out didn't see it because of the fact they recast the main character of the franchise at the very end of the franchise. And this movie actually leaves it open for a sequel, but we are never going to get that ever. But yeah, it was kind of just strange. Everybody else who is reprising their roles from the previous, or any characters that return in this film, are reprised by the same actors. You have Judith Hoag, who plays the mom, Gwen. You have Debbie Reynolds in a much smaller role as the grandma, Aggie. You have the character of Dylan, played by Joey Zimmerman, who, once again returns. And yeah, she's the only character who is recasted. So in this movie, you have Sara Paxton, as I believe what her name is. And yeah, she plays Marnie in this film. And right out of the gate, it's just hard to connect to this new version of Marnie, because even though in a lot of ways in the writing she's similar to obviously the character of Marnie, it's just hard to kind of move past 3 movies with one specific actress, especially when you go from the first to the third film and we've seen her grow up from a pretty young teenager, probably 12 years old, up to being almost an adult. So I always thought that was incredibly strange, and just being able to watch this movie, this character just doesn't feel like Marnie this time around, and so that kind of just takes you out of it right out of the gate. You spend a lot of your mental focus watching the movie and just noticing how much she doesn't remind you of Marnie, and how weird the dynamic between the family feels when you have the main character of the film being recast by another actress who is fine. Sara Paxton does a fine job. I think that's her name, right? Yeah, Sara Paxton. I had to look down at the notes real quick. But yeah, Sara Paxton is fine in the film. She fits the same acting level that everybody else is giving in the film, fits that same Disney Channel cheese. She's not fantastic, but she's fine. So I feel like she was given an unfair hand here, because at the end of the day, she has to play a role that wasn't hers to begin with, and that a lot of fans, obviously younger audience, were attached to. And it's almost like Disney and the people behind the Disney Channel movies felt like, this movie for younger kids, they won't even notice. And they were definitely wrong. I've always heard very negative things about this movie, and after having watched it, it's okay. It's not great, and in a lot of ways it's just bad. It's easily my least favorite of the other ones. I wasn't clouded with any nostalgia, and even then, I feel like when you look at the first 3, more specifically the first 2, they do some interesting things with this very silly, fun premise that you could, have fun with. And I just think that the third film, is a lot more lackluster going back and revisiting it. And this one just kind of felt like it just didn't really take things to the next level. Some of the costume designs of the monsters, even though some of it's just as cheesy as the first three films, some of it is worse than the first three films, which is surprising because this one has probably got the best cinematography and the best camera quality behind it, and in a lot of ways has some of the better special effects. But I just feel like this one, without a doubt, was the weakest of the four films, and I can understand why they just decided to scrap it here, even though they did leave it in a way that kind of left me more curious to see what they would do with the character of Dylan, the brother. And before we go ahead and get into Rashad's thoughts, let me just give you the basic premise. At the beginning of the film, Marnie has been given a full ride to go to a university in Halloweentown, the biggest university in Halloweentown, and her family, the Cromwell family, the Cromwell witches, they are essentially a huge name in that world. And when she gets over there, you end up finding out there's this plot with some of the teachers and the professors at this university who are trying to use her to kind of claim this old Cromwell power. And that's essentially the movie is, she's there going to the school. It turns out some of the teachers are evil. And, she figures that out throughout the course of the film. She ends up harnessing the power at the end of the film. And that's essentially it. And I just think that this movie for me just kind of felt bland. I kind of just was watching it with a very plain face half the time. And most of the time, my enjoyment of it was kind of seeing these really cheesy moments and thinking about Rashad watching these movies on his own. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hear what my buddy Rashad had to say about this one.
Hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. It's over. It's finally over. I know that was a little over the top, but that's how I really feel. Perez, what's the deal? Pickles, is everything kosher? It's finally over, yo. The time has come. I've just watched my last Halloweentown movie, and I could not be happier. No diss to you. I know these movies have a special place in your heart. But for me, I think I have a better time drinking bleach. I think I have a better time eating cat shit with a knit needle than to watch these movies again. Now, granted, first two movies were bad, but watchable. After that, it just got worse. I shit on Halloweentown hard, and I'm shitting on this one. Return to Halloweentown, I think that's what it's called. It's either Return to Halloweentown or Halloweentown Returns. One of them. Who gives a damn? Movie's trash. I'm not even gonna bother to warm it up, spice it up, whatever. I'm just gonna tell you straight up, spice it up. That made no fucking sense. This movie sucked on every level. Every level. Once again, trying to channel my inner 10-year-old Rashad, it still didn't work. 10-year-old Rashad would have turned that shit and watched the Thundercats or the fucking Silverhawks or Inspector Gadget or something. Horrible. First of all, they replaced the main witch, the girl that carried all three movies, especially the third one, Marty. I don't know what her real name is, but they replaced the actress, and I tried to look up why they replaced her. I guess they said that they couldn't get a hold of her because she was working on something else, but she said she never got a call from them, so don't know who to believe. Bottom line is, they shot the movie without her. And now the question that I want to ask is, even for fans of this franchise for Halloweentown, did you ask for this movie? I'm watching this, and this looks like a movie that nobody asked for. This just seemed like something that Disney just wanted to put together real quick for Halloween time. Let's make another Halloweentown movie. Even the regulars that came back, the little boy that played Dylan, he's older now, got a deep-ass voice and shit. The mom, nobody that returned from the previous movies act like they wanted to be there. Even the grandma, Debbie Reynolds, had one little cameo, and she was out. Even she said, fuck this movie, I don't want to be in this shit. Out of contractual obligations, I'll make an appearance. I'll say something. Then like Fixie, what's that shit called? Pixie Dust, whatever the shit. Gone. She was out. No need to be there. Nobody wanted to be in this movie. Nobody. It's so bad that the girl that replaced Marty also replaced the grandmother. Ain't that some shit? Two actors gone. One actress replaced the both of them because she played, I guess, the young grandma back when she was younger, because she did some time traveling shit back in the day. And listen, Perez, this shit was trash. And I know you're not one to crap on movies, but dude, if you don't crap on this shit, and you crap on one of my favorite childhood movies, Crush Groove, if you don't shit on it, if I watch this back and you did not shit on this movie, man, you and me are gonna tango. We're gonna tango. We're gonna dance. We're gonna throw down in fisticuffs. I got Jack Johnson and Tom O'Leary waiting for you right here. There's nothing about this movie that's good at all. Even the makeup got worse over time. The first movie I give a pass to because it was 98. So I said, okay, 1998, the effects are not that good. Okay, I get it. It's the 90s. How was it that the effects look exactly the same, if not a little bit worse than they did in 98, and this was made in 2006? We've got CG now. We've got better technology. Why does a movie that's in 2006 look as good as in 98 or worse? I can't think of one thing. Usually with these Halloweentown movies, if you go back and watch my little 2 cents on it, there was always usually one thing nice I would say about each of them, even if I shitted on it. Nothing I can say about this movie. I liked nothing about it. Nothing. And do you know it took me 2 days to watch this? This movie's an hour and 28 minutes. It took me 2 days to watch this. I was watching this shit in 20-minute intervals. And that's how much I could take. I couldn't stomach anymore. After about 20 minutes, I'm doing one of these numbers. I'm out. 2 days it took me to watch this. Perez, you owe me big time. 4 movies that I had to watch that was terrible. All right, the next one I got to watch is Sicario 2. You owe me 3 good ones now. 3 good ones. I know you like to get my pressure up, but I'm not giving you the satisfaction. I feel it's starting to raise up, but I'm going to bring it back down. Woosah. F is what I give Return to Halloweentown. All around the board, bad performances. They even turned the brother into a dog. That just goes to show you. The grandma disappeared after one scene. The mom had nothing to do but become a realtor, and you barely see her in the movie. The little sister, they just scrapped her like Judy from Urkel. And Marty, F is what I give Return to Halloweentown. Perez, that's all I got. The floor is yours. I got it over with. I'm just happy it's over, fam. I'm out.
A big thanks to Rashad for being in these videos, bro. Thank you so much for the laughs. Thank you so much for being down to watch these incredibly cheesy Disney Channel movies. I've made you sit through a few of these, but I know that this one specifically, this series, has definitely been an incredibly cheesy ride. And part of my enjoyment going back and rewatching these movies has been, even in the really bad moments, is just being able to laugh with myself, recognizing that you're going to watch these movies and you're going to have to see these really cheesy moments and you're going to have to try to review them. And so for me, that's been part of the enjoyment, is kind of torturing you with these movies, to be completely honest. But thank you so much for being down for being in these videos. I'm always appreciative for you being in these videos. After this, Rashad and I will be getting to a little bit more serious movies in our collabs. And if you guys are interested, we actually just did a podcast / discussion kind of thing, a live stream over on my channel here. It's called Random Ramblings. It's a new series I'm going to be doing where I'm going to have different guests who have either collabed on this channel or have not already collabed on this channel. And we're just going to kind of discuss things, talk about YouTube, talk about our interest and things like that, while also answering viewer questions while you guys are watching live. So if you guys see anything about Random Ramblings and various guests that I'll have here on the channel, definitely tune in, check it out. I'm trying to do these live streams in a way that they don't feel like, oh, if you missed it live, it's not even worth watching. It's supposed to be really about the conversation and the discussion, and kind of getting to know the guests while also being able to get to know myself, and everybody else gets to kind of know each other in the comments and all that jazz. So the last one, the first one, was a lot of fun. Definitely check that out. But yeah, as far as this movie goes, I just feel like the recast of Marnie just took away from the charm of the first 3 films. I think Kimberly J. Brown and Marnie, you know, going back and rewatching him, it's not fantastic. She's not a great actress in a lot of ways, and the character isn't phenomenal. She can be a little bit annoying at times, but I still enjoy her as that character. She is locked in my mind as that character. So rewatching it, I just feel like they took away a little bit of the charm of the films by taking away the main character, which I feel took away, or the main actress who played the main character, which kind of just took away that dynamic and the same chemistry that the other characters had. I mentioned it in my review for Halloweentown High. We both talked about it, Rashad and I, that the character of Sophie was kind of just sidelined. She has very few scenes in Halloweentown High, and you don't really see her in that movie. And in this movie, they completely sideline her. They don't even have the actress come back to play her. I believe the actress's name is Emily Roesk, and she does not even appear in this film. They kind of just explain that she's doing her own witch training with Debbie Reynolds' character Aggie, who makes very brief appearances in this film. And yeah, they're on some interdimensional adventures together, which just sounds strange. And that ends up just having Debbie Reynolds' character pop in here and there to be, you know, the character from the first 3 films. And I love Debbie Reynolds. I think she's probably one of the better parts of these films, specifically in the first 2 films. I really enjoy the character of Aggie. And so for her character and Sophie's character to be completely and utterly sidelined in this movie for this new actress who's playing Marnie, it just doesn't work for me. Another character in this movie is the character of Ethan, returning from Halloweentown High, who's played by Lucas Grabeel, I believe is how his name is pronounced. And yeah, his character feels very different from the character of Ethan in the 3rd film. And the relationship between him and Marnie just feels different than the dynamic that they had in that film. So that right out of the gate kind of just feels strange, kind of feels forced, and just feels like with the recast and everything, they just really just changed the characters, and it just doesn't even feel like a proper extension of even the last film. And one last thing I'll talk about, since we're talking about spoilers already in this video, is that at some point Marnie ends up traveling back into the past to try to find out a little bit more about this Cromwell power. She ends up coming across her grandmother Aggie, who she doesn't know is her grandmother Aggie at the time, but is actually played by the exact same actress who plays Marnie in this film, Sara Paxton. So it's supposed to be like, oh, your grandma looks exactly like you. And those sequences, those scenes were just so cheesy. And I think that just comes down to what I don't like about this film, more so than the other ones, is that the writing is just flat out bad. It's not just bad and cheesy, it's just kind of bad altogether. There was nothing for me to really be gripped onto in any way, shape, or form, or even enjoy in a cheesy film kind of way. It wasn't a it's so bad it's good kind of situation for me. I don't even feel that Kimberly J. Brown playing Marnie in this film would have made it any better. So yeah guys, overall I found this to be the weakest of the bunch, but I enjoyed being able to finish out my reviews of all these movies. A big thanks to you guys who have been sticking around and checking out these videos. If you guys are looking for some very silly, over-the-top, very cheesy, made-for-TV Disney Channel original movies about Halloween, definitely check them out. They're on Disney+. I think they're worth checking out, but yeah, this one is definitely the weakest. A big thanks to Rashad for being in another video. Super grateful to you, my friend. Hit that like button down below if you guys enjoyed this video. Comment your thoughts. Have you seen this movie? Have you not seen this movie? Where do you stand on this movie? And how do you feel about the recasting of Marnie? You guys can also find the link to Rashad's channel down below, and you guys can hit that subscribe button with the notification bell so you guys can keep up to date with my new videos. There's so much more coming, and I'm going to be trying to get all these Halloween and horror reviews that I haven't done already out at the beginning part of this month. So a big thanks to you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.